I still can't believe you actually moved abroad. I remember when it was just an idea you kept mentioning over coffee.
Yeah, it felt like one of those things you say for years without ever acting on it. But something shifted. I got tired of feeling stuck, like my life was on repeat.
Was it more about escaping something or moving towards something?
A bit of both, honestly. I wanted a change of scenery, but also a different version of myself. I had this feeling that if I stayed where I was, I'd just keep making the same choices.
That's interesting because people often romanticize living abroad, but they don't talk much about that identity shift.
Exactly. Everyone talks about the food, the culture, the excitement, but no one really prepares you for how disorienting it can be at first. You lose your usual reference points.
What was the hardest part in the beginning?
The small things, surprisingly, not the big dramatic moments. It was things like going to the supermarket and not recognizing half the products, or trying to make small talk and realizing your sense of humor doesn't translate well.
That sounds frustrating.
It was, but also humbling. Back home, you don't realize how much confidence you build just from knowing how things work. Abroad, you suddenly feel like a beginner again.
Did that affect your confidence a lot?
At first, yes. I remember feeling strangely invisible, like I was there but not fully part of anything yet. It takes time before people see you beyond the foreigner.
I imagine language plays a big role in that too.
Definitely. Even if you speak the language well, there's always that subtle barrier. You hesitate more, you second guess yourself. It's not just about grammar, it's about cultural nuance.
Right, like knowing when to be direct or indirect, what's considered polite.
Exactly. I once made a joke that would have been perfectly normal back home, but it fell completely flat. It made me realize how context dependent communication really is.
Did you ever feel like giving up and going back?
There were moments, yes, especially during the first few months, you question everything, why you moved, whether it was worth it. But then, gradually, things start to click.
What kind of things?
You find your favorite cafe, you recognize streets without checking your phone, you start having more natural conversations. It's like the city slowly opens up to you.
That must feel rewarding.
It does. There's a quiet satisfaction in building a life from scratch. Every small victory feels meaningful because you had to work for it.
Do you think it changed your personality?
In some ways, yes. I've become more adaptable, more patient. I'm also more aware of my own cultural biases.
Can you give an example?
Well, I used to assume that certain ways of doing things were just normal, but now I see they were just familiar to me. Living abroad forces you to question those assumptions.
That sounds like a valuable perspective.
It is, but it's not always comfortable. Sometimes you realize that what you considered efficient or logical is seen as rude or inflexible elsewhere.
So you have to constantly adjust.
More or less, it's like you develop a kind of cultural sensitivity. You start observing more, listening more, before reacting.
Did it affect your relationships?
Yes, quite a bit. Making friends takes more effort. You can't rely on shared history, so you have to build connections from scratch.
That must be challenging.
It is, but it also makes friendships more intentional. You choose to invest time in people, and that creates a different kind of bond.
Do you still feel connected to your home country?
I do, but in a different way. It's like I have one foot in each place. Sometimes I feel like I don't fully belong anywhere anymore.
That sounds a bit unsettling.
It can be, but it's also freeing. You're not limited to one identity. You can take elements from different cultures and shape your own way of living.
That's a nice way to look at it.
It took time to see it that way. At first, it just felt like a loss of certainty, but now I appreciate the flexibility it gives me.
What about practical things, like work or bureaucracy? Were those difficult to handle?
Oh, absolutely. Dealing with paperwork in a foreign system can be exhausting. Even simple things can become complicated if you don't fully understand the process.
I've heard that can be a nightmare.
It can be, but you learn to be persistent. You also learn to ask for help, which is something I wasn't very good at before.
So it forced you out of your comfort zone in multiple ways.
Completely. There's no way to live abroad without stepping outside your comfort zone regularly. It becomes part of your daily life.
Do you think everyone should try living abroad at least once?
Not necessarily. It depends on the person. It's not just an adventure, it requires resilience. Some people thrive on stability, and that's perfectly valid.
That's a fair point. It's often presented as something universally beneficial.
Yeah, but it's not a one size fits all experience. For some people, it can be overwhelming or even isolating.
Did you ever feel lonely?
Yes, especially at the beginning. There were moments when I really missed the familiarity of home, friends, family, even the way people interact.
How did you deal with that?
I tried to create routines, simple things like going for a walk at the same time every day or visiting the same places regularly. It helped me feel grounded.
That makes sense. Routine can be comforting.
It really is. It gives you a sense of stability when everything else feels uncertain.
Looking back now, would you say it was worth it?
Without a doubt, it's one of the most challenging things I've done, but also one of the most rewarding.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned?
Probably that you're more capable than you think. When you're placed in unfamiliar situations, you discover strengths you didn't know you had.
That's something a lot of people probably underestimate.
Exactly. We tend to underestimate our ability to adapt. Living abroad really puts that to the test.
Do you see yourself staying there long term?
I'm not entirely sure. That's another thing that changes. You become more open to uncertainty. I'm less attached to having a fixed plan.
So you're comfortable not knowing what comes next?
More than I used to be, I've realized that not everything needs to be decided in advance. Sometimes it's enough to take things as they come.
That's quite a shift from how most people think.
I guess so. But when you've already made a big leap, like moving abroad, smaller uncertainties don't feel as intimidating anymore.
Do you ever think about moving somewhere else again?
Occasionally, once you've experienced life abroad, the idea of doing it again doesn't seem so unrealistic. It's like you've expanded your sense of what's possible.
That's inspiring, in a way.
It can be, but it's also a bit addictive. You start craving new experiences, new environments.
And does that make it harder to settle down?
It might. I haven't fully figured that out yet, but for now, I'm enjoying the journey.
That's probably the best approach.
I think so. Living abroad has taught me to focus more on the present rather than constantly worrying about the future.
If someone was considering moving abroad, what would you tell them?
I'd say be honest about your expectations. It's not just going to be exciting and glamorous. There will be difficult moments too.
So they should be prepared for both sides.
Exactly. And also, be patient with yourself. It takes time to adjust, and that's completely normal.
That's reassuring to hear.
And one more thing, don't try to recreate your life from home exactly as it was. Be open to change,
That's good advice. I think a lot of people try to hold on to what they know.
which is understandable, but it can hold you back. The whole point is to experience something different.
You're making it sound tempting now.
I'm not trying to convince you, but I will say it's an experience that stays with you. It changes how you see the world and yourself.
I can see that. Maybe one day I'll take that leap too.
If you do, just remember, it's not about having everything figured out. It's about being willing to figure things out along the way.
That actually makes it feel more approachable.
Good. Because in the end, it's less about the destination and more about the process.
I like that. It sounds like a challenge, but also an opportunity.
That's exactly what it is.